The 2006 Indians are the unluckiest team in the history of Major League Baseball. They were a team that could have made the playoffs, but ended the season far from it. A quick rundown on the team. They had a terrific lineup, featuring a mixture of great hitters including Victor Martinez, Casey Blake, Ben Broussard, but most notably, Grady Sizemore and Travis Hafner. Grady Sizemore led the team in WAR while recording a plethora of offensive stats and playing elite defense. He was the Mike Trout of the mid to late 2000s. As amazing of a player Sizemore was, designated hitter Travis Hafner was an offensive juggernaut. He led the American League in OPS and adjusted OPS while being one of the most feared sluggers in the game at the time. The rotation was terrific as well. Led by ace CC Sabathia, the team had a top-of-the-line trio with Sabathia, Cliff Lee, and Jake Westbrook. The bullpen was underwhelming, and we'll get back to them later in the video. Despite being equipped with a powerful lineup and a supportive starting rotation, the Indians had a poor season, and to put it lightly, they were unlucky. To see why they were unlucky, we need to understand two statistics: run differential and Pythagorean record. Run differential measures the difference in runs scored to runs allowed by a team. For example, if a team scores 650 runs in a season and allows 600 runs, their run differential is 50. The larger the run differential is, the better the team is. In theory, as the more runs a team scores than they allow typically equals more wins. Sounds obvious, however, it's not a perfect indicator for team success. The 2021 Mariners had a run differential of negative 51, yet they went 90-72, a single game out of a playoff spot. Theoretically, the 2021 Mariners performed rather poorly since they allowed so many more runs than they scored, but had a great record in spite of that. We'll see how a situation like this is possible, but just know that a team with a large negative run differential and a great record is an extreme exception. Run differential also ties into Pythagorean record. Pythagorean record measures what a team's record ought to be based on their run differential. It's not perfect, but does give an idea if a team was lucky or unlucky during the regular season. Going back to the 2021 Mariners, despite a 90-72 record, they had a Pythagorean record of 76-86, aka the record they should have gotten based on their negative 51 run differential. They are a perfect example of a team that was, in theory, lucky. This is where the 2006 Indians come into play. The team that season went 78-84, finishing in 4th place in the American League Central. Despite that below 500 record, the Indians had a positive run differential. We're not talking about a positive run differential of 1 or 2 or anything low. The Indians had a run differential of 88. That's their record for highest run differential for a team to finish under 500 in MLB history. Their Pythagorean record was 89-73, an 11-win difference than what they actually recorded. The Indians finished the season ranked 19th out of 30 teams in win-loss record, yet finished 5th in run differential and Pythagorean record. How does this happen? How does a team that was mathematically the 5th best team merely end up in the bottom 3rd in the standings? First, we need to see how team records can vary based on Pythagorean record. For example, let's say Team A plays a 3-game series versus Team B. Team A wins Game 1 1-0, wins Game 2 3-2, and loses Game 3 10-0. Despite being outscored 12-4, Team A won the series. If they repeated this pattern over the course of a full season, Team A would have a run differential of negative 432, yet would also have a record of 108-54. On the flip side, Team B would have a run differential of positive 432, yet a record of 54-108. A situation that absurd is practically impossible, but we've seen this happen before, just in less than 10 circumstances. As mentioned earlier, the 2021 Mariners won 90 games with a negative 51 run differential. Winning close games and losing blowouts will give a team a low run differential, but may reflect a better overall record. Vice versa, winning blowouts and losing close games will do the opposite. In 2006, Cleveland went 33-20 in blowouts, yet went 18-26 in one-run games. A blowout is defined as a game where the difference in final score is at least 5 runs, like a game that ends 5-0 or 10-2. The Indians racked up a ton of runs during blowouts, but lost many close games. In fact, in their 78 wins, Cleveland won by an average of 4.6 runs, and in their 84 losses, lost by an average of 3.25 runs. Naturally, the large magnitude in which Cleveland won games versus losing games is due to their great rotation and even better lineup putting up many runs. The main reason why they lost many close games was due to their bullpen. The Indians in 2006 only recorded 24 saves, which ranks last among all 30 MLB teams. With rare exceptions, a save can only be recorded when the score is within 3 runs. As just shown earlier, Cleveland didn't have many 3-run leads late in the game. When they were winning late in the game, most of the time, it was by more than 4 runs. Also to mention that Cleveland had the 6th most blown saves among all MLB teams that season, so the handful of times they did have an opportunity to win a close game, they often blew it and would instead lose a close game. It's safe to say the bullpen was the main issue the club had. They went through a lot of relievers during the season. Cleveland had only 6 relief pitchers throw at least 20 innings during the season, but had 16 throw at least 10 innings. It appears that the team kept shuffling around relievers trying to find some that could pitch well. Of those 6 relievers to throw at least 20 innings, only 3 had an adjusted ERA above 100 and 2 with an ERA under 4. Jason Davis led the Indians in both with a 3.74 ERA and 120 adjusted ERA. For reference, among all relief pitchers in baseball in 2006 to throw at least 20 innings, Jason Davis's 120 adjusted ERA ranks 99th. Cleveland's best reliever just barely cranks the top 100. Along with their league lowest 24 saves in 2006, Cleveland also ranked 25th in bullpen ERA and 20th in WHIP. As great as the rotation and lineup were, they were only as good as their bullpen, consistently blowing close leads and costing the team their close games. If the Indians had at least an average bullpen, would they have made the playoffs? Their Pythagorean record of 89 and 73 wouldn't have been good enough to clinch a playoff spot, but we also need to look at the teams they could have won against with a better bullpen. 2 teams in the American League Central made the playoffs, the Twins and Tigers. Cleveland went a combined 14 and 24 against them both. This includes a notable number of games against the 2 teams where the bullpen blew it, struggling to shut the door, costing the Indians the game. They also only went 33 and 31 against teams under 500, so they failed to capitalize winning games against weaker teams, which contributed to their losing record. Perhaps if the team didn't blow so many games and also take better advantage of facing bad teams, they could have made the playoffs, but alas, they did not and weren't even close. For now, they hold the title for greatest run differential among teams that finished under 500. Mathematically, one of the best teams in baseball in 2006, but finished as one of the worst.